Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this Friday, no, June 1st. A new month, potentially some new market price action here. Maybe a new shift, don't know. I'm going to be checking out some levels today. NFP news coming out in a few minutes here. So we should see what the overall intent and direction of the market wants to be. A couple of levels that I'll point out right off the bat here. So this is the US dollar index. This is what I'm going to be watching predominantly here for the NFP event. You can look at the sell-off on euro though. Just speaking before I get into there, nice move lower on that guy there. Just looks like it took out these double bottom right there by a pip or two. Go out to a daily on that guy there, and I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna clear this out here, just so it makes it nice and easy to watch. And then this guy here. So I honestly don't know what to expect here. I'd like to see the 95 level hit and taken out. And they really dropped price on Wednesday and Thursday. Tuesday being the high, just barely grabbed, didn't barely grab anything. Just fell short of 9,500 there, the big figure. If I can get a price chart up here, is it gonna give it to me? Yeah, there it is. 94.95. It came up on my feed here, so be curious to find out. Type in the chat what your feed came in at the high, the US dollar on Tuesday. Sold it off, and then we've since kind of returned back down into this little area right here. So we'll see what happens. You know, like I say, there's could be some resistance right here at this level here, and that would be 94.30, somewhere in that area. And if price pushes through there, I'd be thinking that they're going to probably want to run for this 95 level. It's a big range. I mean, it's about 100 pips up to get up above these highs here and to clear these two equal highs in here is what I'm looking for. And it looks like the numbers just got released now, so let's see what they want to do. Price so far kind of squirted higher a little bit. Let's just see here, down to a 15-minute. Looks like they're pushing it. So let's see if their willingness to clear this level here. And that was a level that I just identified on the hourly. That's the old Tuesday. That's the open Tuesday, pretty much. See if they have any willingness to drive through that. I'm kind of thinking if they do drive through this level here, then they probably will want to reach for this. Ultimately, this is my goal up here. This is, I think, would be fulfilled price action up here, and then where they want to take it from there, I don't know. They could just want to kind of pop the head above here, wick through, reject, and then fall all the way back down. And I was calling some levels back down here, and I was also taking a fib as well. So if you take from this low up to the projected high, which could potentially be 95.20, which would just basically run it back into this small consolidation level back in here, into the lows. If you did a retracement, it comes back to the 72, 79% retracement level. So that could be what we're looking for. However, there's a number of factors that have been propelling the US dollar higher, and trade wars with China and the petrodollar, and this, that, and the other thing, and the U.S. Federal Oversight Committee, Monetary Committee, have suspended any rate hikes until later in the year. So that could soften this push higher. They were talking about doing it and did a couple of rate hikes in here, and so far have suspended them for the time being. And I believe we could see weaker prices. It's a potential for sure. But they have promised a couple of rate hikes later on in the year, so that could be what happens. They could, and let's say that they may fail right here. I don't know, and then they could just start pushing lower. I'd be looking for some kind of a measurable bounce at somewhere in this neck of the woods here, and I'll just maybe highlight that somewhere in that area there. I'd be looking for a bounce, basically off this old high here. this small, little area in price right in here, and maybe a bit lower, and then potentially a continuation higher. That's a scenario that could pan out. Like I say, a couple of rate hikes later on, but who knows? It's the U.S. dollar. They kind of do whatever the hell they want to do, and we're just kind of at the mercy of it. But if you can sit down and you can pick out a couple of levels and some targets ahead of time, then I believe you got to jump on the game. You can kind of get an idea as to where market direction the bias could be, and you can ride their coattails and get in on some pretty significant moves. So. Same type of idea on the euro here. If we go down to a daily, right? Could be some support here on the daily open of this candle here, which comes in again at 116.20-ish. Now you can see here prices come down. It looks like it's even failed to hit this candle high right here. They came down and wicked, and so far they've failed to go any lower. Whereas this one just about hit the open, so definitely, I mean, not much to really go off of. It's a little bit more of a gap here and there, so it could be a prelude that they just, this is really starting to show strength, and it doesn't have the willingness to go back down to that open level, and we could just see a bounce and start to run higher. Below price action, so this could be the ultimate intended target, right? All the way back down in this range. That may not happen for a good, I don't know. May not happen for a good 3 months. In terms of time, I don't know. Like, it took from the middle of April until the, almost the end of May, so a good 6 weeks to get from that range to that range, and they really pushed that thing higher. They were in a big hurry to get up there. So in terms of price falling off, we could be another, month or two even to get back down here. They could just slowly start to meander this thing down, and then price could bounce from there, or it could continue. The line in the sand for me, if you take a fib, basically from the two lows here up to that consolidation high is sort of where I'm looking, and you drop a line on it, that's kind of where I would be expecting price to reverse. If that's not an exact by any means, I can do that a little bit better, but basically if these old highs don't offer any support, that could be the next level of support, and if that gets broken, well, then I think we're probably going to finally come back down to this 86.76 level here that I've had marked out on the charts for a very, very long time now. So that's what I see happening, but so far pretty lackluster. A little bit of a wick in here, nothing to really go off of. I'm just going to bring up the economic calendar here real quick, and let's just have a look at today, shall we? Just to kind of give you an idea as to what we can expect. So we had average hourly earnings, and this all just happened about 6 minutes ago. Non-farm employment change numbers and the unemployment rate come out. And then in about an hour and a half, we've got, a little under an hour and a half, we've got ISM manufacturing. And it looks like that's it. I was a little surprised. We've got some G7 meetings. Don't hold any positions over the weekend. I would highly, strongly recommend against that. But coming out of the gate on Monday, we could see some movement happening kind of right away. So we'll be watching for that in a couple of levels. We could get a couple of nice setups happening depending on what today brings. So we'll be watching for that. I'm going to stick around and watch price here for about the next 25 minutes or so. I'm not going to make this a very long, crazy session or anything like that. I don't think that's necessary. But I just kind of wanted to look at some levels with you guys and kind of get an idea as to what we're doing here. And what we could expect for next week, and then go from there. Yeah, it's all U.S. dollar news. I just put on another filter. I just put on the low impact filter, and you can see just a lot of low impact news events as well too. Vehicle sales, construction spending, manufacturing PMI, etc., etc., etc. So anyways, so far it hasn't done much. It's pretty lackluster. Sometimes NFP events, it's like, you know, this gigantic event, and you'll get price fluctuations up and down, both market directions. It'll rip by, you know, 40, 50 pips, 100 pips, and then you'll start to finally see where the intended direction is. This so far it's a little bit muted. They could really start picking things up here, and move in price, but came down. So price, I'm just going to put on the day dividers here so you can get an idea. So this was Wednesday's trading. Basically Tuesday again created the high of the week. So this was kind of your market profile. Price opened up on Monday, traded higher, created the high of the week, and then traded softer on Wednesday, Thursday. And then now we're just kind of sitting in this range right here as the high. So we broke lower than the low on Monday, and we basically ran up to just a little bit into Tuesday's low here, and so far we've seen some rejection. And really all they did in here was they cleared prices out. Cleared out these equal lows in there. You see that? Price created bit of a, you know, a support level there. They drove it down, cleared those out, and rejected and ran higher. Now they cleared up to the stops above. So basically, they're just kind of trading right in the middle of the range here for Friday and on Thursday. And that's pretty much exactly what Thursday did. Thursday opened, dropped lower, ran up, dropped lower, and just about closed at what it opened at. So really the only movement on the week was you got that, get that move in on Monday. Tuesday we got a nice trade off on the pound dollar as well too, and a couple of commodities on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday you saw the sell-off ensue, and really yesterday. And that's why I don't trade. Wednesday is my last day of trading for the week of NFP. Tuesday sometimes, but definitely Wednesday, that's it, because usually this is what you get on the next day is you kind of get price consolidating and just sort of not really going anywhere the day right before NFPs. And then obviously I never trade NFP because you don't know what they're going to do with it. They could surprise you, like I say, with some crazy price fluctuations and get you on the wrong side, and then it hurts in a big hurry. So with that being said, that's kind of the market so far that we're seeing here. So I don't sorry guys, I'm just getting some emails coming in here. Let me just close this email platform here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying here. So yeah, so far, you know, if this low on Tuesday holds up, and as I was saying on the daily, this is basically the open, pretty much where the, see that right there, that down candle right there. And I'll take off that day divider so you can see a little bit better. That's the open of Tuesday right there, and that's where I've got that 94.30 level basically marked right there. So that's the open. So far it's holding up and providing some kind of resistance on price, but they're not doing anything. They're just kind of sitting there right now. And sometimes they do that as well too. I've noticed lately they'll just kind of do just a quick surge in price, sort of clear out both sides of the market, and then all of a sudden, you know, they'll sit there and wait for 15, 20, or 30 minutes, and then they'll just start moving price in one direction. So we'll see what happens there, but so far, bit of rejection on the euro, as I said, and the pound dollar. Nice daily candle up so far as well too. I'm just going to drop down to the hourly. Not much on the cable for the week. If you look, they've really been keeping it in a pretty tight range. This was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's trading. Really been keeping it in a bit of a range. They had this price spike down here, but pretty tight range on on the cable for the week. 100 pip range all week long. Got a nice move in here. I think that trade was on Tuesday. We got a nice move in here. I believe I can't remember the day we put it out. Got some nice movement in there. Ended up capturing, I think, 30 pips or so in there. And or maybe it was in this one here. Sorry, folks, I can't quite remember. We put out a lot of signals throughout the week, so I don't remember exactly where it was. But looks like the cable actually had more action on it than the US dollar. Nice rejection candle of about 45 pips there. Just taking the swing high to the swing low here. Price came down right about to the middle of that swing on this candle right here, and so far is rejected. So I would look at this as a reversal pattern. So they come down. Sorry, not a reversal. This would be a continuation pattern. They came down, dropped the market under here, took all the lows under Thursday, and I'm expecting them to push this thing higher. It's what it looks like they're doing right now anyway. There's a lot of this is the 4-hour chart here. So I'm just going to get rid of some of this levels on here that aren't relevant anymore, so we can kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with here. So if this thing is going to hold up, I wouldn't and trade higher. I wouldn't expect 132.95 to get traded down and through if we're going to see market direction start to reverse. This is a reversal pattern right here, where they've come down. You know, I'm going to just kind of step this through here for you guys. So they made the high up here, lower low, lower low, lower low. You know, they keep making lower lows down here, and all the time they've never come back once to rate any stops significantly. A couple equal highs up there. That'll be a target for later on. But you can see, like, they've just a nice downtrend here. And they just broke it here earlier this week. So, and then they dropped the price down, and one candle down, rejection, came back down, tested it, failure swing, and now they pushed higher. So, you know, on the day, I would fully expect them to start taking out this high here. But there is lots of area above a price here that I think, you know, like start basically picking highs all the way back up, and those would be your targets for each daily move, right? There's a lot of range for this thing to go back up. This is a nice big move down on the cable. I'm just talking about the cable right now. I'll talk about the euro here in a minute as well too, but that's an 1100 pip move back to the downside. Tons of areas back up in here that I think could be on the radar screen going higher, and eventually, if this is the shift and this is the low that they put in here, and NFP is going to start reversing this thing, then, you know, ultimately we could see price trade back up into here. But again, you know, that area that I marked out on the US dollar on the daily, see, price is very similar there to the drop in price here. Just basically flip it. It's the inverse. So if this area in here does offer some support for the US dollar and they bounce and then they go higher, then I would expect the exact same thing to happen in this area here. You know, they could potentially bounce price somewhere up in here, and then the price could roll over and we could be seeking lower lows. But you know, that's a ways out. Can't call that yet, but just keep that in mind. So we'll see what they want to do here. So far, like I said, there's not a ton happening. Not a real busy. Put this level on those highs there. Let's see if it has any willingness to get through there. I would imagine that's probably what their target's going to be. They'll probably come up and scoop that liquidity. You know, the other scenario is they just roll it up and then smash it back down too. You know, that wouldn't put that past the market makers. Yeah. So far, nice rejection though on the daily. Guys, just as well too, I'll try to keep this as interactive as possible. If you guys have any questions or anything, shoot them up on the chat. I've got the chat window open here, so I'd be more than happy to converse with you guys. It doesn't always have to be me yapping about my thoughts. I can answer some of yours as well. So by all means. US CAD. What do you got going on, US CAD? I posted this yesterday, this drive down, and then short rally, and then a one more quick drive down to run the stops, and they ran the stops over here as well too with this little wick, and just a beautiful rejection. That's an interesting trade on the US CAD. You know, we didn't see that happen on the US dollar, obviously. You can see here that was, I'll just put this on here so you can get an idea. And this was there. So this was yesterday's trading. Price opened up, traded higher, just took out the old highs from the Wednesday, fell off, took out the lows. US dollar opened lower, dropped down, took out the lows, and then finished higher. And then rallied higher, and then kind of fell off right in the middle. So this US CAD should be mirroring pretty much exactly what the US dollar is doing. One sec, guys. And they didn't. They really pushed this thing higher up into. I called this level when price was right about here. I called and they said they were going to drive it back up in here and finish this range up in here. Did that very, very easily. I think actually some guys, some people got in on this in the membership group. Probably scooped up a quick 70, 80 pips on the day. So nice range yesterday. If you did that again, I wasn't trading. I was just posting charts and looking at ideas. And this was one idea that I saw, and I posted it when the price was right around here. And then you can see nice 70, 80 pip move ensued after that. So it was a big range yesterday. Big range on the US CAD. And they were getting price up higher in a hurry. And so far they haven't done anything. So they scooped up anybody who was going short after this rally up. They just ran those stops right there. But I would have expected them to rally it higher and potentially get back up into this range here. So far haven't done that, but like I say, they like to kind of have late runners sometimes in NFP where they'll just kind of spike it up and then just slowly start to trade softer and then rip it back up again. So that could be their intention. I don't know. Because so far we're not seeing, we saw a bit of a rejection, but they don't seem to be following through on it at all. So their main goal could be back up in these levels here. And like I say, on the US dollar, I'm fully believe that they're going to hit this level up here. But so far nothing. Crude oil rolled over again. I've told you guys my thoughts on crude. I think we could see some chop coming in here for about the next 3 weeks on crude oil until that Vienna conference happens and they decide what the hell they're going to do with crude oil production. So I'm not going to go into this very much. Aussie dollar. A lot of talk about Aussie dollar lately. Price is in a real tight consolidation here, and so far a bullish one. It's almost looks like kind of like a bull. Wow, technically a bear flag because it's coming off of a downtrend. In here you can kind of see that, but I'm not expecting price, like I say, if we get this reversal in the dollar or even a spike higher up into here, what I'd love to see, and this scenario would be great if it played out. If we got this run up here, ran up, hit this 95 level, rejected, and we start to continue down. But the Aussie dollar, where is it here? But the Aussie dollar, and this would be that high there that I was just showing you on the USD. The Aussie dollar, let's say we got some push down, just kind of cleared out some stops here, but failed to get lower than this guy right here, and then reversed. That would be a beautiful trade. You would just, there's so many opportunities on this, and then you could target. I don't necessarily know that they have enough strength to get back up to here, but certainly that could be a great trade. So we'll see what happens. But you can see Aussie make a nice higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low all the way through. And this could just be another fake out in here where they drop price down, everyone thinking they're going to go short, fake everybody out, and then they rip it higher. So could be some good opportunity on the Aussie coming up. We'll wait and see though. And there's no rush. It's not like we're not missing anything, guys. So don't be impatient on these moves, right? These are long-term moves that we're looking at here. And it's best to just sit on your hands, never trade on NFP. I don't care what you think. Like literally, we could be sitting here saying, hey, price is going higher, going higher, going higher, and they could literally just fail at the weirdest place and then just rip it back down the other way, and you get caught on it. So don't trade NFPs. It's not worth it. There's lots of time, lots of setups. Price will be moving into next week, into June, and so there's lots of ideas for June coming up here. So that was Aussie, the US CAD, Euro, and cable, and that's pretty much about it. So far, pretty muted. I've been at this here now for just about a half an hour here, and don't see anything jumping off of the page yet, me. Gold is kind of sitting in a bit of a range here. Looks like it's kind of stair-stepping down. Came out of a consolidation range and dropped down into another little consolidation range, dropped down into another little one, and then now we're in another one. So nothing too exciting on gold yet. That was a nice drop there, and that was a nice drop there. If you are a multi-day swing trader, could have got some nice price action on there, and that's just basically so this is also interesting too. So you see this drop in gold, how they really didn't get into they didn't drop in a big hurry or anything like that, whereas the the US dollar, they really rammed this price up in a big hurry. Didn't really see the same correlation with with gold. And usually if US dollar is going up, gold is going down, and vice versa. A little bit of hesitation on gold's part there to get lower, so it could be a prelude to the future. Some manipulation happening where gold has some underlying strength. The US dollar, this is just basically a fake rally up for them to fail to get higher here, and then their real intention is to trade much, much lower. That could be kind of what this could be signifying here. Because you see, this is the low down here. These old lows right here. That comes in at December, basically early December of 2017. Sorry, I said that wrong. Mid-December 2017. And these old highs... Wait, what am I trying to drive at here, guys? Hang on here. So December 2017, December 2017, where are we here? December, all the way back here. There we go. So this is that same high that the US dollar created, and where gold created the same low, right? So whatever gold is doing, US dollar is doing the opposite. Right, here's that same high. You can see how the US dollar convincingly ran through that high, right? Whereas gold failed to get through that low. So again, there could be some underlying strength on gold's part, where this rally on the dollar could just, as I say, just kind of be not a fake rally. I mean, it's real, it's right there, but it could just be nothing behind it, is sort of what I'm saying. There's no real weight behind it, and that could be why we're seeing, gold hesitant to come back down lower than here. So if they do decide to drop the US dollar back down here, you could really see gold start pushing higher in a big hurry, and finally maybe break out of this tight zone it's been in here. We can see on this is a weekly chart I've got here, just a nice bullish trend on gold. Clean this chart up a little bit here for you guys so it doesn't look so ugly. You can see just a nice bull trend on that, and so far they've got some highs in here, relatively equal highs in here, the highs here, lots and lots and lots of area above price that they could want to trade up to. See these old lows back in here? You know, that would definitely be on the radar screen. Now I don't know that, you know, that would take a while to get up there. I mean, that could be a year to get up there, who knows, but that could be the intended direction. This could be underlying strength in gold prices, because they have been artificially suppressing them for so long. And the US dollar really doesn't have anything to stand on. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's all based on manipulation anyway. So where are we? That could be the real move. They could want to push this higher. So if they push this higher, it'll be interesting to see if something like gold sees that push lower, right, and starts to clear out these lows here, and who knows where it'll get down. I doubt it'll fail. It'll probably fail to get lower than that. I know that for sure. But like I say, if we do see that roll over in the US dollar, that could be a big, big, quick move higher. And that would be, first target on my mind would be right up here. These two equal highs right there, that would be the first target. So that'd be a great range. Nothing there I don't want to talk about. That's pretty much about it. Anyway, guys, copper's gonna, or sorry, cocoa is gonna take out those lows right there. We'll probably push down here, and then I would expect a move maybe back down to this 22 level here. Coffee had a nice breakout and run. Where's sugar? Oh, look at that. Man, that kills me. I called this level on sugar a while ago, and look at this nice run. I think we're going up to these highs up here, by the way, guys, on sugar. And just does not stop. Like, it's just 1, 2, 3 up, straight up days. I'd love to see some retracement, some pullback down into this area down in here, and see if I can get off some longs on that. So basically, if you ever see sugar come back down to this level down here, buy it. Buy a lot of it. Just so you know, guys, just for disclosure's sake, I shouldn't say anything. This is all hypothetical. I'm assuming you're all trading in a demo. This is a demo account. I'm not trading any live funds. None of the advice I'm giving here should constitute as trade advice, or you know, I'm not a licensed commodity broker or anything like that, especially with commodities. So, you know, you use at your own risk. These are just my ideas, my thoughts. If you take a trade, it's based solely upon your own discretion and none of my influence whatsoever. And I don't want to know if you make money, and I sure as hell don't want to know if you lose money. So please keep that in mind, just for legality purposes. Okay, short disclaimer there. Had a nice move lower here this week on natural gas. Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday really moved nicely back down in here, but not convincingly. I'd kind of like to see it drop down a little bit more if it could. Then I'd like to see a bounce higher, so we'll see what happens there. Bitcoin doing nothing. I've talked about this for quite a while. This is a daily chart. They're going to keep dropping lower. They're just consolidating right here. They're probably waiting for NFP and the US dollar to kind of do its thing, and then they'll probably eventually roll that over. Ethereum's seen a bit of a bounce off of this small level in here. I don't think that's going to do anything. Temporary support, but I think eventually price will roll over as well too, and it's going to scoop up the lows under here. And I don't know if any of you guys trade cryptos or not, but these are just kind of some thoughts on those as well too. I think we'll probably see a bit of a drop on cryptos. See these lows in here? I mean, just perfect areas for them to come down and scoop up the liquidity. So we're going to see a drive down on Litecoin, on you know, on Ripple, on Ethereum, all those coins. You're going to see another drive down in those, I would imagine, here fairly soon. Sometime this month it'll probably happen. Or who knows, they could just sit there and chop it sideways for months and months on end. We don't know that either, but they will take those lows, so. US dollar moving back down. And this area right in here is, looks like it could be offering a little bit of resistance. Get rid of that there. See that a bit better. So I'm expecting if price is going to hold and it is going to go higher, if that's the intended direction, I would expect this level here to probably offer some some support. You know how they traded up, traded back down, scooped up the levels in here, traded back into this sort of trading range down here, and then exploded back up off of it. You know, they filled this range in back in here on Thursday, so there's really no reason for them to go back up into this one more time here. But if they are going to go lower, we probably won't see price go higher than here, if they do want to go lower. However, I think what they were doing is their intended move is higher. That's just my gut feeling. I think they're going to go higher on it today. And it may even take into next week for them to continue to push this thing up. But I think that's the intended direction. I just don't see them, like they've rammed this thing up higher, 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 and then they got up to this level here. Why would they stall it out here? If not to come back later on and drive it higher. Maybe, you know, failure swing here, get everybody thinking short, 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 short. And all the big major, you know, funds and everything put all their weight in behind it, and they start to drive price, and then they just stall out kind of right in this area here somewhere, and then they push this thing higher, scream it up, and then scoop up the stops, stopping everybody out on the way back and then rolling over. I mean, that could be something that they're thinking as well too. I mean, there's 100 different scenarios that could play out on this, but I would be very surprised if they ran price all the way up to here and failed after coming back from down here. You know, if they were to do this, if let's say they put in these two equal highs up in here, they put these levels in, came, traded back down, and then they just kind of did this for a little while and then came back up and did this, I could see that happening and then dropping lower. But this is a serious drop lower here. So for them to fail up in here, I'm very surprised. I'd be very surprised. And then just FYI, if this 95.20 level that I have in this green line right here, if this range in here breaks, on the upside, that's the next target would be 96.50. Just so you know. And then from there, if that level breaks, then the next target would be these high, basically the lows down in here, but more so this low right there. That'd kind of be the target on the upside, 98.35, and so on and so on and so on, all the way up. If that, I'd be very surprised if they drove price all the way back up there, but if that happens, that's kind of what we'd be looking at. So. Pound dollar. Just scooped the highs over this candle here by a pip or two. Rejected. I'd kind of like to see them take this out here, but if they fail it in here, yeah, they could be looking for lower prices. The problem with the pound dollar is just price has been kind of jagged and hasn't, in my opinion, been real smooth. A lot of wicks and things like that. So there aren't any real clear levels. There's a couple of equal lows right here that you can see that were created on Monday. Tuesday. On Tuesday, a couple equal lows right there that maybe they'll come back down and sweep. But I'll be interested to see if they get lower than this. So that could be a target on today if this is a failure. Wouldn't surprise me. Come on, give me a straight trend line. Coincidence? Almost right to the pip. $33.26. 33.45. 19 pips. Um, 33.20, call it 33.27. And then the close 33.45. So about 18 pips. What's half 18? 9. So the open 27 plus 9 is 36. 133.36. What do you think the high of this candle is? Come on, give it to me. 133.36. Bang on. Very logical level for a reversal. Now that's kind of interesting. So like I say, this move down here, this impulse move down right here, this could follow up and push lower. I forgot that on the dollar, on the hourly. Didn't. For those of you who know what I'm talking about here. Almost, not quite. Anyway, just looking at a couple of levels that are very interesting. I'm not going to discuss it in here, but very interesting. So we'll see what happens here. Euro GBP, this is a messy pair here. I know some people like to trade this. I just use this as a barometer for what the euro and what the pound are doing. Real messy in here, though, consolidating. Not much to go off on here. They're manipulating these two, obviously. They're driving, you see this, they're driving both of these down. These two basically shouldn't be, I mean, yes, they should be. I shouldn't say that. They're manipulating them down this way. They should pretty much do the opposite of what the US dollar is doing. But in unison like that, they have to manipulate Euro GBP, and that's why you're seeing price consolidate sideways like that. So, still nothing on CAD. I would expect these levels to hold up into CAD. Somewhere in here. We'll probably start rebounding here and probably start making a run higher for these highs up here. CAD on the daily, I think that high is going to get taken out. And that corresponds almost exactly with the US dollar high that they had done there back in here. Not the exact dates, but this is a short-term high. I think they're going to run that higher. That's it, guys. I don't really have anything else here to talk about. UJ, any UJ traders out there? If we see a push higher in the US dollar, we could see this push higher as well too. Potentially sweep above this high here and this short-term high over here. I would expect some resistance at 112. This blue line right up in here. I would imagine that's probably where some resistance is going to lie. If you're a UJ trader, I'm not really. One of the guys that works with us here at F45, he is everything yen trader. He loves trading the yen, all the yen crosses. So actually threw out an NZD yen trade yesterday that I think netted in another 30 or 40 pips. So great trade there. We had a positive week. I think we were I think we're just under 100 pips on the week for total total range. Not bad for an NFP week. Again, where really light trading happens. You know, I watched the market Monday, Tuesday, and a little bit Wednesday, and after that didn't do anything. So if you can get 100 pips on an NFP week, good for you. You're doing the right things, and that's what we did. So hoping to follow that up next week with some big ranges. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I've been doing this now for about 45 minutes, and I don't see a whole lot of anything happening. Unfortunately, this has kind of been a lackluster NFP. A little bit of sideways price action. Like this is right where this candle right here is right where I started watching it, and that's where they opened, and they're only a couple of pips off of where they opened up. 5 pips above of where we opened. Yeah, 4 or 5 pips above. So see if that level holds up or if they want to keep driving lower. But that's about it. I don't see any questions up in the chat room, so I guess you guys are good with everything. If you do have a quick question, I'll stay on here for about another minute or two and wrap some stuff up. So next week, actually, just talking about next week, let's just have a real quick look at the economic calendar, shall we? Lots of news coming out on the Aussie dollar on Sunday, late Sunday evening, New York time. So we could see some potential setups there for the Aussie dollar, and a little bit of euro, medium here. Instead of just talking about this off screen, I can bring this over so you can see what I'm talking about. A little bit of pound sterling news there on Monday, but a pretty light day news-wise for Monday. Some more Aussie news late in the day. Don't really see here. Let me take this filter off. We don't need that on. Yeah, a pretty light day. They're really going to be working the Aussie, it looks like, next week. So we could see some good trade setups in the Aussie, depending on what today does. If we get that failure swing on the Aussie, we could see that pushing higher. So we could get a few setups on the Aussie going into Sunday and maybe into Tuesday. So we'll keep an eye on that. This is a real late in the day one as well too. Cash rate and the rate statement. So could be some good movement there. Construction PMIs on the pound. I just missed that. There's more Aussie news. The Aussie is definitely going to get hit next week. So we'll be looking for some setups on the Aussie. And some pound dollar into Tuesday as well. One news event for the pound on Monday, one on Tuesday. Some CAD news, more US ISM news coming out, more Aussie news, and more Aussie news again the next day, and Canadian dollar on Wednesday. Thursday, Canadian dollar, Governor Poll speaks, and Friday, some Canadian dollar. So late next week, we could see some movement on the Canadian dollar, and that could be, like I say, going back to the Canadian dollar, if, let's say, we see price push up, maybe next week they start pushing this thing up into maybe earlier in the week, and then end of the week all that news event starts to drive it lower, or, you know, vice versa. They just kind of sit here and struggle to move higher on Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday pushes it up and then rolls it over. That could be, you know, what's happened as well too. And then we'll look at all that Aussie stuff again. Like I say, lots of opportunity on the Aussie. That news stuff on all next week, basically, and it starts on Sunday and it goes until the last news events is on Wednesday. So we'll see probably some pretty big movement on the Australian dollar. So watching that one real closely, and we'll let you know with lots of time as to what you can expect there. But that's pretty much it for next week. Some pretty light news events, especially with the US dollar. There's one event on Tuesday, that ISM manufacturing, and really that's about it. Crude oil inventories on Wednesday, but that's about it for US dollar news. So it might be a bit of a lighter week with the US dollar, but we could see, like I say, US CAD and Aussie could be the trades of next week, so we'll keep our eye out for that. I'll be back next Tuesday. I'll probably do, well, let me just see here. So, is there anything London Open news-wise? Yeah, there is. You know what? There's that Aussie. I'll be back, so I'm going to do a live session, London Open, Tuesday morning, Tuesday morning, June 5th. I'll do a live session there, and I'll catch that that Australian dollar rate announcement, and then we'll see where the dust settles after that and look for some setups. I'm not going to put a position on. Just so you, if you are an Aussie trader, I would probably recommend that you, if you're going to do some trading, get in on that move late day on Sunday. Sunday's open. There's some news coming out at 9:30 p.m. New York time that you could potentially get in, and maybe on Monday. But I would sit on the sidelines until that cash rate, until the RBA rate statement come out, just in case you get some fluctuation on that. It's a pretty big news driver. And then there's more news later in the day on the Aussie. So we'll be watching for that, and then I'll look for some potential entries on the Aussie and London Open on Tuesday. So we'll watch for that. And then Dave will be back Wednesday morning to trade the New York session, S&P, and gold. And it could be some Canadian dollar there as well, too. So I'll get him to mention that on Wednesday, starting on Wednesday. And then I'll be back Thursday. And looking at news on Thursday, I'll probably actually do maybe a later New York session on Thursday, because there's not a whole lot of news. There's some pound sterling news on Thursday morning, London Open at 3:30 a.m. New York time, but it's medium impact. And then at 11:15 a.m. there's Canadian dollar news. So maybe I'll do a session then. I'll worry about that after Wednesday, though. I'll give you guys lots of notice, but for sure Tuesday, for sure Wednesday, and a London session Tuesday, New York session Wednesday, and then we'll go from there. So, unfortunately, today, thanks for sticking with me this long, guys. I appreciate that. Really like watching paint dry today. There's really nothing going on. Look at this range we're in. Nothing happening so far. Right, that's the tiny little range we've been stuck in. Just a great NFP. So with that, I am going to wrap this one up. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming out, checking us out. If you haven't already, sign up to f45trading.com, where you'll get access to all of our membership portal, educational videos, trading sessions, chat rooms, signal rooms, one-on-one discussion with our experts, you name it. Get it all for 14 days for free. If you haven't joined us, please check us out. Go to f45trading.com. Follow us on Twitter and support us, and follow us on IG at Future45 Trade Signals, please. And if you haven't already, down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen right here, there's a little icon. Make sure you go ahead and click that icon and click subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you'll get instant notification when we go live next. So with that, guys, I'm going to sign off. Just so you know, too, right, this wasn't a trading session. This was just a study session. We don't trade NFPs. I've said that 100 times so far. And today was just a study session, so we're just kind of picking out levels. And unfortunately, none of the levels got hit that I was talking about. You know, the U.S. dollar, we're still, I'm waiting for price to push up in here. Hasn't done anything yet. Hopefully we'll get that a little bit later in today. There is some more news coming out at 10 a.m. New York time. So in about 40 minutes from now, there's ISM manufacturing. So that could be what they're waiting for, and they may start to push price. So just keep that in mind. If this level here gets broken on the US dollar, probably see lower prices. So if they break 94, we'll probably see lower prices, and they could scoop out the lows from Thursday. If that does offer support, then I'm fully confident that they'll come in and they'll snag up this 95. Maybe not happen today, maybe next week. But I think that's the intended market direction. And this was just a stop run to grab the liquidity under the most recent swing low. two equal lows right there, equal low, equal low. That'll definitely be a target after if they run price up here and scoop that. That'll definitely be a target on the downside. So that would be target 1 coming back down. But it's interesting, those equal lows. So that was May 25th. I'm wondering if the euro did the same. May 25th. May 25th. No. Not a spike up. Relatively equal highs here, the bodies, for sure, and then price failed to hit it here. It's actually interesting. Price is a lot closer here on the euro than it is on the dollar. But talk about that another time. Yeah. So I'm gonna just mark that out as well too. Grab this level. Equal highs right there. I'm gonna assume that this wick is just on my platform here. I'm gonna ignore that and say that those are pretty equal highs right there, and that would be a good target on the upside. So, okay, anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks very much. Hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. First day of June. So hopefully you guys are getting some nice weather. Start the summer pretty much. And, you know, we're going to have a busy week next week, I believe, trading. So hope you guys are ready for that. Get some rest this weekend. Enjoy your family. You know, have a beverage or two and relax and get ready to get back in the markets for starting next Monday. So thanks very much, and we'll talk to you next week.